मिस संजना तनेजा, बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको. मैनी congratulations, number of good selections.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like mentoring a student like you. I'm blessed with this moment, I would say.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So we will have a detailed discussion कि क्या process था, कहाँ selections हुए हैं आपके, right? यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं. Probably कहाँ से selection हुए हैं आपके PhD program में US में, और कहाँ आपने तय किया है?
Okay, sir. So my first offer of admission was from Washington University in St. Louis.
Okay.
And then University of Rochester.
Okay.
I had to appear for many interviews for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got an offer of admission from Yale. I guess Yale was my third.
Okay.
And then I got offer of admission from New York University.
Mm-hmm.
And Northeastern University.
Okay.
And was there any other university?
I have to look into it.
Yes, sir. So I guess these were majorly the universities I got an admit.
Yes, yes.
And then, yeah.
And finally, you have decided to
Go to Yale.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. Which is very good institution. Not only rank wise, बल्कि आपका जो motivation है research के प्रति, one of the best places that you can follow that. So let's have a discussion. Why don't you introduce yourself? I mean, अपने बचपन से लेके और transition जो हुआ, आपके family background, क्या education किया आपने? So tell us in detail.
Yes, sir. Okay. So as you mentioned, my name is Sanjana Taneja. And I was born and brought up in the city of Panipat in Haryana.
Okay.
Did my schooling here in my hometown and chose science early on in my studies. So I was always a student of maths or physics, as you say. So I knew I was going to choose physics at some point in my life. And then so initially I went for like degree in engineering. I appeared for this entrance exam that's called the IIT JEE in India, and I cleared the exam.
जानना चाहता हूँ कि कैसी रही आपकी ऐसे middle school में रुझान? It's very important question, I would say. 9th 10th में कैसा रुझान था? 11th 12th में कैसा रुझान था? It's important. कैसी आपकी grades वगैरह थे?
So I'd say I was very good at maths. I was always good at maths. So maths was my strong point always. And I'd say among the sciences, I wasn't very good at chemistry. But again, among the students who were in the 90s, like who get scores above 90s, wasn't very strong point for me. And then I had a love for biology, but at like some point I knew that biology seemed a little, learning terms from the books kind of a subject. So at that point I had to make a distinction, like choice between either going for more physicsy side or going for more biology side. So I chose physics and maths. And I'd say then being good at maths helped me with my, problem solving in physics. And that's how I built my, I'd say, a conceptual understanding of physics as well as the ability to solve numericals good. So that's it. I'd say the influence of my middle school education would be on my overall career.
Yes.
So being good at math was actually the major point, I'd say.
क्या percentage थी आपकी high school में और plus 2 में? कब खत्म किया?
So I completed my 12th standard in 2017.
Okay.
And my percentage was 95.3.
It's pretty high percentage. क्या subject थे आपके plus 2 में?
So I had English, physics, chemistry, maths, and then I had physical education and painting and
that's
for the English.
इन सब में highest mark किस में थे?
Physics.
ओके, तो आपने 2017 में +2 खत्म किया। आपने हाई स्कूल का नहीं बताया, 10th?
So, in 10th as well, I like, do I need to share my scores for 10th?
Yeah, I'm just curious to know. Yes, yes, why not?
Yeah, so there were CGPAs, and I scored 10 out of 10
10 out.
CGPAs.
Okay.
So that was, yeah.
कहाँ से
I
आपने
think,
ये हाई
yes,
स्कूल और
sir.
+2 किया?
Yes, sir. So there's a school here in my hometown called the Sanatan Dharam Vidya Mandir,
Very
STVM
nice.
school. So I did my schooling from there.
Okay, nice. तो जब आपने +2 इतने हाई परसेंटेज से किया तो क्या रैंक थी? I mean, just it doesn't matter, but anyways.
So I remember I was among the toppers in physics. I don't remember exactly getting a rank in the school, but I was among the toppers in physics.
It
I
seems
had a
like,
97 out of 100 in physics.
wow.
That was
तो फिर क्या
that
सोचे?
was the point.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was the point. I just knew that physics is going to be something I.
तो जब +2, 9th, 11th, 12th में स्टूडेंट जाते हैं जनरली, तो they think
Yes.
about like preparation for JEE and those kind of
Yes.
things. आपने कहीं से कुछ ऐसा सोचा और कुछ किया?
So I did not get an official, I'd say, coaching for it. I just studied on my own, like just the basic concepts in, the NCRT books that we follow, and a little bit of extra things that we can do. Apart from that, that's it. I did not go for an official coaching or something.
Okay.
And it just made me realize that when I appeared for the JEE mains exam, it just does not ask for a professional understanding. It just asks you should be very clear in your basics. And that's something I felt when I appeared for it. So I was able to clear JEE mains exam.
Okay. Very nice.
Slightly, I wasn't very good at it, but slightly above the cutoff marks. But I was still able to clear it. So I had the chance to appear for JEE Advanced. But before that, I was already enrolled in Delhi University. So I just knew that I was gonna go.
Yeah, tell us about your BSc program. कहाँ से किया आपने और क्या subjects थे आपके और क्या grades रहे या percentage रहे?
Yes, sir. So I chose Miranda House for my undergraduate degree, and I was selected in the third cutoff list there. So
Okay.
it seemed very difficult at that point.
Okay.
So I was behind like the cutoff for like only 0.5 or something. So I was able to be a part of, in the cutoff range, finally in the third cutoff list.
Okay.
And so once I was there, I just had like I knew I wasn't going anywhere. I decided to go for Miranda House. And then I'd say that my journey in Miranda has been like one of the most memorable parts of my life.
Okay.
Like it transformed me as a person, but also I learned academically. That's something important. But apart from that, my personality, who I am today, I'd say that it started building when I first came to Miranda House. So a lot of who I am today, I'd let's say I'll just say that to my college, my undergrad college. And so
agree with you.
I was consistently, I'd say not the topper of the class, but among the toppers, like scoring good. So my final CGPA was 9.243.
Okay,
so
nice,
that was
very
my
nice.
Aggregate.
During
CGPA.
this program, क्या subjects आपने लिए थे?
So there were a lot of subjects like
Just name some.
starting from classical mechanics. We always start from classical mechanics, and then quantum mechanics. There was mathematical physics, a number of courses on mathematical physics, just the basic ones, and then there was advanced mathematical physics.
Okay.
And then thermal physics, and then there was statistical physics, a separate subject. And then there was electromagnetic theory, there was nuclear physics, atomic I don't think atomic physics was a separate subject in my bachelor's, but these are like
The
subjects
major
that I
ones
studied.
that you recall. Which one you
Yes.
like the most?
I'd say statistical mechanics I like the
Stats
most.
you like the most.
Yes, I
Okay.
in fact liked thermal physics a little bit. Classical mechanics has always been like a little difficult to understand at some point or the other for me. So I'd
Very
say I
true.
like quantum
I would say
mechanics
that.
a lot. Quantum mechanics was fascinating subject. It is a fascinating subject.
अब जब आपने 2020 में शायद राइट बीएससी कंप्लीट
Yes, sir.
फिर क्या किया आपने?
So it was pandemic time. It was hard times. We were at home,
Mhm.
and I didn't really. So I was confused between applying for a MBA or a
Okay.
master's in physics. There was a time that I wanted to pursue because I was interested in economics, and most of my classmates were into economics, and they were
Oh,
applying for MBA.
okay.
So at that point, there was a short period of time when I was looking for positions, like MBA positions, but then
Okay.
I got back on the track and
Mhm.
applied for a master's in physics in Delhi University itself.
Okay.
And I got selected at the Department of Physics and Astrophysics at University of Delhi. And I
Okay.
started my master's online here.
Journey started. Yeah. One more
Yes,
question from your undergraduate. Did you
yes.
get any kind of research experience or internship sort of?
Yes, sir. So I'd say right before the pandemic, we had started a research project with one of my professors who taught us quantum mechanics. So again,
Okay.
I was very fascinated with the subject, along with a few of my classmates. So we all decided to ask her if we could do some sort of a project on something called quantum computing. Because that was
Okay.
something we came across recently in those days, and you know, we were very curious to know what the quantum computers were, how they work, at least
Yes.
try to
Yes.
understand the basics behind their working. So we asked one of our professors, and she supervised us. So mostly, what the work we did was reviewing the literature on
Okay.
quantum random walks that are the
Mm.
basics of what quantum computers are.
Okay.
And so we did literature review and we did simulation work. So that was,
Okay.
I'd say, my first experience of trying to carry out research
Yes.
or
Okay.
first exposure to research. So we had multiple meetings and we used to meet and try to troubleshoot our codes and learn how to code, I'd say, at the same
Mm.
time.
Okay.
So that was my first
First
exposure.
exposure.
Yes.
Tell us about your master's program.
Yes, sir. So my master's, it started, I don't say the way one usually imagines it because
Mhm.
of the pandemic. So it was all
Yeah.
online. So it
Mhm.
was a bit difficult, given that we had to attend everything online, but
Oh,
it was still, I'd say, okay, because again, the professors at the Department of Physics at University of Delhi, they are great. They
okay.
teach amazingly. So even if it was online, we were still attending classes very patiently, not,
Patient.
you
Okay.
know, I'd say skipping them because they are online. So they were
Mhm.
interesting. So they had a way of teaching, very great way
Mhm.
of teaching. So I'd say. So I mean, started online, but eventually we were able to go on the campus and continue studies offline. And
Mhm.
then during the second year of my master's, fascinated by one of my professors teaching, I approached him if I could, work under his supervision. And he was one of the professors of statistical mechanics,
Okay.
uh, University of Delhi. And I approached him if I could work with him, and I was able to get a position with him, and I started working with him. So he worked in biophysics. So that was my first introduction to, the
Okay.
subject biophysics, which is
Mhm.
something going to be my, topic of research for my future studies. But
Mhm.
yeah, so initially I just did not plan for biophysics. I just planned for, I'd say, going for work with the particular professor. I really admired his teaching, and it just worked out well. So I approached him, and we decided that I'll work in the final semester of my master's for my dissertation and like try to carry out research. And before that, I did some I'd say grunt work, some you know building the basics about biology and some terminologies. And I even took a course that was remotely related to the concepts that going to be used in my dissertation thesis. So, and
Now, what
then
was
in
the
the
topic basically? Title, let us say that, of your
the
master's
title
thesis.
was, the precise title was a Boolean network model for the gene regulatory network of E. coli. So that's
So you were comfortable being a physicist, I mean, kind of, and doing some kind of research, early exposure in biological physics.
Yes, sir. I'd say that I always had that in me, that inkling to be able to study biology because it always seemed fascinating, like the way biological systems are. And I just never knew there could be a way to study biology through something like physics. So until I came across my professor's work or the subject of biophysics, that is one of the subjects that he teaches. So at that point, when I came across the subject, was the first time I realized that this is something I like. This There was a calling in me that said that this subject is something I'm really interested in. So I researched a lot about the subject to see what are the open questions, the kind of work that's being done, and it just felt more and more fascinating.
Yeah, more interdisciplinary, more rewarding probably, and you can contribute to a lot being a hardcore physicist, I would say. It's very interesting. Yeah. Did you publish any research paper, peer-reviewed paper during your master's program?
I did not publish it, but the work I did was an original piece of work.
Yes.
So I worked on a database that wasn't, that wasn't worked on before. But yeah, I did not get a publication out. That was just a work. So I had to be a little more, I'd say, streamlined and work to get it published. And I just had a semester's time.
Yeah.
So
you have very limited duration of exposure. I completely agree. At least it will take 1.5 years, I would say, to have the draft ready and to be submitted to a journal. आपके क्या grades थे master's program में?
So I scored my final score was 8.3, a CGPA of 8.3.
All right. तो आपने 2022 में मास्टर्स को कंप्लीट किया.
Yes, sir.
Okay. आपके दिमाग में चल रहा होगा, I mean, you must be thinking, what should I do after completion of my PhD? I mean, after masters, should I go for a PhD? और क्या सब आपके दिमाग में during masters खत्म होते चल रहा थे questions?
So, like, I always knew I was gonna do a PhD, and that was one of the reasons why I applied for a research position under one of the professors at the University of Delhi. So that was something I always had in mind, that I was going to do a doctorate. I just never knew I could plan a doctorate abroad. So that's something I just wasn't, aware of, let's say. Like how graduate studies could be so good, like they could be so funded completely abroad. So that's something I wasn't aware of. And so I had a plan to carry out my PhD in India only. So there were a number of institutions that I had shortlisted at that time. But but I came across your mentorship platform.
How did you come across?
So I guess it was in 2021. We were still attending online classes, and I came across a poster for a webinar in I remember Bhagini Nivedita College.
Yes, University of Delhi.
And a lot of my classmates were attending, so I went on to attend it because it just seemed something I had never planned So I just attended very casually to see actually like what do you have to offer. So is it really like possible to be able to study abroad like with a fully funded program? So I attended it and it just gave me a lot of I'd say insight, and it just gave me a lot of insight into the reality of what graduate programs are abroad that I was never aware of. I've always thought going abroad means spending ton of
Not, yeah,
money. Yes,
not something. Yeah, true.
and that's something I would say I had never thought of, like spending that amount of money. I belong to a middle class family, so I just never it just never came to my mind that I should apply abroad until
Yes.
unless I came across your platform and I saw that graduate degrees are fully funded. So then I did my research and tried to contact you at initially, but then owing to some family reasons and stuff, I could not get in touch with you early on. So
Okay.
yes, sir. So I came in contact with you much later, like much later in the year. I
Okay.
remember I attended your webinar in around March
Mm-hmm.
2021.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I came in contact with you much later.
तो आपने डिसाइड किया आप अब जुड़ गए, राइट, एंड वी
Yes.
वर्क टुगेदर, आई मीन ऑलमोस्ट मैनी मंथ्स प्रोबेबली, और फिर हम लोगों ने एक बनाया एक रोड मैप
Yes.
कैसे क्या करेंगे. तो पहला क्वेश्चन रहता है कि व्हाट एग्जामिनेशन डिड यू प्रिपेयर फॉर पुटिंग योर यूएस पीएचडी एप्लीकेशंस.
Okay, sir. So I sat so around January when I hadn't got in touch with you yet. I appeared for IELTS, knowing that I might apply for abroad. I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
but when we
January
appeared for it,
January
2022.
2022. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir. So I appeared for so so going through the timeline, I came across your platform in 2021 March. Couldn't get in touch with you the whole year. At the end of year, I got to know about you again from Smidhi. We
Okay.
discussed, and she was working with you. So I decided that I'll also start working with you at some point after my masters. Also, like I was also inclined towards getting some more exposure to research, which I gained during my last semester. That was from January 2022
आपने
to
जनवरी में क्यों लिया IELTS एग्जामिनेशन? आप तो फॉल के मतलब you have plenty of time. I mean, more than a year probably.
So I just thought that at some point I just knew that I was gonna apply, and I just thought the earlier the better.
Okay.
It's just an English proficiency exam, and we have a sort of 2 years of time before it expires.
Okay.
Your IELTS exam. So I just thought the earlier the better. You can get one thing done, and you just like keep it aside. That this is something that's done for the application process.
Well, I mean, good point. The English proficiency test is required anyways.
Yes. So at that point, I just felt that there are going to be a lot of other exams. I wasn't aware like how many. So I just seem the easier one. I'd say that this is just an English proficiency test and just get it covered. So that was the reason I applied in
And how
January.
did you prepare for this examination?
So I'd say that my first thing to do was to just go through all the sample tests to see what the pattern of the general test is.
Yes,
And
yes.
then going through the pattern, what I mostly did was appear for more and more timed tests online. And I guess that's it. I just got an idea of how people prepare for it and just try to learn some terms or some vocabulary for the writing section and the listening and the listening section and the other three sections were easier for me. I was more worried about the writing. section, and for that I try to learn, different vocabulary and, getting some basics in my English clear. So I'd say it wasn't a difficult job. It was easy and it was interesting to do. It wasn't much, stressful.
Basically, you have self-study. And what was your score?
So I scored a band of 8.
Yes, pretty nice, pretty healthy.
Yes, sir.
So we shortlisted some of the universities.
Yes, sir.
Name those universities and how many applications did you put? I mean, now we're gonna go in intense discussion of this application process.
Okay, sir. So I remember we shortlisted around, I'd say 15 to 20 universities, and I applied to 12 of them.
Okay.
So that was that is purely out of my. I'd say I was frightened. I was terrified. What if I did not get an admission? So an explanation for number of universities I applied to, and so the general process for shortlisting was to first see a list of my dream universities, and then go for top 100, top 200, and then top 300. And my general procedure was to just go through the websites and see what kind of research is being done in the physics department at different universities, and writing down like the kind of research they do, and to see if I understand a few of the things that they do. That was my idea of shortlisting. It was important that the research I was interested in was being carried out at the university. So it was the major, I'd say, thing that like everything else revolved around it. So that was my,
so can you name those 10 to 12 universities? इसमें आपने applications finally डाले आप लोगों ने?
Yes, sir. So I'll start with the first application was in Northeastern University.
Okay.
And then University of Texas, Austin. There was Rice University. There was Yale.
Yes.
There was University of Pennsylvania. So these are 5, right? And then I had Boston University, New York University, Northwestern University, University of Washington, and UCLA.
These were the pool that
and
we
University
had.
of Washington in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Of course.
Yes. So इसमें से
University of Rochester.
Rochester, yeah, you also got Rochester offer.
Yes.
तो कहाँ से offer आए आपके? Yes.
So, my first offer was from Washington University in St. Louis.
Yes.
And then I received a call of interview from University of Rochester, I remember.
Yes.
So after appearing for the interviews, I received an offer of admission from University of Rochester.
Yes.
Then I received a call from Yale for the interview, and then received an offer of admission from that.
Yes.
Also, I received offer of admission from New York University.
Yes.
Did not have to appear for an interview there.
Yes.
And Northeastern University again did not appear for an interview. And that's, I guess, pretty much it. These were all my options.
So these were all fully funded with full scholarship. They offered you for the PhD program.
Yes.
Question, मैं भूल गया करना, आपके माता पिता के बारे में आपने नहीं बताया, क्या करते हैं?
Yes, sir. So my father is a businessman, and my mother is primarily a housewife, but she is also a home tutor. Teaches at our home. So students come at home and teaches, and most of the time when I'm at home, I try to accompany her in teaching.
Yes, that helps a lot. Just so you know, your background में चीजें चल रही हैं, उसका बहुत बड़ा impact पड़ता है. I agree with that.
But my professional career, the line I chose for my career, it's all I'd say based on my I'd say conversations and my interactions with my grandfather. So he has had the most influence on my career. So early on, when I was a kid, back then he used to tell me like teaching. There could be no profession uh, better than teaching. So ever since I was kid, so he had
तो वो लोग आपके
influenced me.
साथ रहते हैं और
Yes, yes. I have lived all my life with my parents and grandparents, but I've
you're very
mostly
lucky.
lived with my grandparents. I'd say I've spent a lot of time with
So you've been lucky, I think, with their blessings, their
them.
experience of the life. It helps
Yes,
a lot.
yes, sir.
And how about your brother? What he is doing currently?
So he's pursuing engineering in one of the colleges in India. So yeah, he's younger than me and he's pursuing engineering.
So
So
maybe
he had a passion for it.
he's
I
gonna
think
follow you up, I think.
no, so he had a passion for it, and it's not following the crowd. I can see definitely there's something different in him. He's very quick, and he has that passion for doing software engineering
But
and
maybe
stuff
tomorrow
like
he's gonna say, my Didi has gone to US. Now it's my turn.
that. Yes, sir, maybe who knows.
या फिर लेकिन माता पिता अकेले हो जाएंगे. Don't you think so?
Yes, sir. But yeah, sir, as I understand it, my parents are very supportive. So if it's about our careers, they're never going to stop us. So they're very supportive. So they are worried about us, yes, but at the end they're very supportive of whatever our decisions are going to be.
Very nice.
So next I received a call of interview from Yale.
Yeah,
I still
wow.
remember it was unbelievable for me that I received a call of interview.
From
So
Yale, yeah.
I remember I texted you immediately that I received a call of an interview from Yale, and so I thought this was going to be a very rigorous interview. I have to prepare very well. Though you told me I have to relax and have to just think more rather than just trying to read and remember answers
Yes,
or
yes.
memorizing stuff. So, but I'd say that I was
Do you
pretty
remember
nervous.
कब था ये Yale का interview?
Uh, so it
Approximate date.
was. So I don't think I can give an approximate date now, uh, given its time. I mean, it was in the month of I'd say February, somewhere that
Some.
month.
Or,
I'd say towards the end, or I don't remember exactly. But
oh, that's okay.
the month of February, and I mean, I was very, very, I'd say nervous, but
Me too.
yeah. So
Yeah, that was.
I just had, I guess, a day or two before, like between the interview and like the notification and the date of interview. They were not very far away. So I had just a few days, and I like went on to read all physics stuff, and I don't know, I just read everything I could, I'd say.
Yes, yes.
Like that was potentially going to be a question for my interview, and then I appeared for it. Uh, Quite different from what I imagined. There was just one of the professors in biophysics who took my interview, and she was very polite, I'd say, and it wasn't again an interview. It was more like interacting with somebody very,
क्या questions थे? If you
yes,
remember.
sir. So she started with first telling about myself. I told her about myself. And then she went on to ask me if I could just explain one of my research projects to her. And so my most recent project was my master's thesis. So I went on to explain my work on that. So she asked me a few questions on that, like
Okay.
when I was explaining, so some basic questions that she could not understand. And then she went on to ask me why I chose a traditional physics program when I like want to carry out research in something neuroscience. So why not go for a neuroscience program? And then I answered that. I guess that was pretty much it. There wasn't more to it. It was a
Yes,
very,
yes.
very interview. I mean, after the interview, I was very, I'd say,
It's
now
over.
for time, like, is it just that? Is it over? So that was something,
And how
yeah.
long it took duration
So
of the
I'd
interview?
say it was a very, very short interview. I'd say like probably 10 minutes or
10
so,
minutes. Okay.
or even less than that. It was a short interview.
Mhm.
I mean, I'd say that they were in a bit of hurry. I don't know.
Maybe they made up mind and just want to make sure.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
have this formality kind
Yeah, I mean, they did not have a plan to ask a lot of questions. They just asked one or two. I guess assessed me on that, and
of.
then
तो इंटरव्यू के बाद when did you receive the offer from Yale?
so I'd say I thought I'd received an offer quite early, but I had to be very patient. So I received an offer of admission much later, I'd
You
say.
keep on asking me, sir.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, the more, the number of days that went by between, the after the interview, it just felt that the chances of getting an offer of admission were less and less and less. I just felt that way. But, eventually, yeah, I got an offer of admission. So I'd say they took their time. It wasn't
Yes.
right after my.
So this offer came from department first or the graduate school?
So it came from the graduate.
Yeah. So उसमें actually समय लगता है in a way. And
Yes,
department
sir.
recommends and graduate
Yes,
school. I
yes,
mean, they have to do so many things probably to
yes,
send
sir.
out the offer.
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
How
sir.
happy was you about? I mean, I was too happy anyways. But how about you
Yes.
receiving
So,
Ivy League and that too in physics, getting real physics? I mean, tremendous efforts it's going to take for a student.
yes, so I say that I still can't believe it happened. It still feels like a dream come true. It was my dream university. I just never thought I could ever get an offer of admission from there. So it still feels like a dream. I was happy, but I just can't explain. I just can't put it in words. It was so you know I always go back to that day, and I say it was one of the most memorable and the happiest days of my life. But yeah, I mean, I cannot put it in words how that feeling was.
True.
Yes, sir.
इसमें let's talk about scholarship at Yale. क्या
Mhm.
scholarship है जरा बताइए.
So they have a scholarship package with so that includes three things. So the first two are tuition fellowship and healthcare coverage.
Okay.
So I don't have to pay a tuition fees, and they are covering some basic health stuff. And then I have a stipend. So yeah, so these are the three things that are part of the Yale scholarship.
Okay. And tell us about what stipend are you receiving?
So it's $40,530 as of in my offer of admission.
It is like 9 months or 12 months.
So it's a 12-month stipend.
Complete process. एक और important question है because student जुड़ते हैं इस process में हमारी mentorship को लेके. I'm going to come back to this question. How we mentored, especially to get you the Yale position? Can you tell us about it?
So I'd say one thing that's unique about your mentorship program is that you push your students to work harder, than they usually are working. And I think without your mentorship, I wouldn't have been able to get an offer from Yale. Obviously, that's very obvious. But also, I'd say that there are a few things that I'd say I see that are improved in my own, understanding. Also, the way I do things.
Yes.
Like there are different things that you mentored me on. So I'd say that they are improved a lot after I have been connected with you. So that says something. I mean, it's just not helping with my application. It's so much more than that. It's a process where you try to, shape students into, to be able to carry out a study at such good institutions at US. So it's not just, helping, but it's also kind of grooming a student into,
Yes. Yeah.
be able to carry out that kind of work at a great position. Yeah.
Yes, very true. To be specific, I agree with that. To get into Yale, I mean, we got to do extra efforts. Right? And that's pretty much important. Let's talk about in this application process, like the interview was there. How we help with that to have this process done. And the application process itself includes like good scientific CV, statement of purpose, and a few other things. So can you elaborate on that aspect so that audience knows?
Yes, sir. The application was a long one. So there are a lot of details that one needs to fill out in the application, starting from your personal details and then your academic details, the institutions you attended, and the scores, your transcripts. And I had to also, in some of my applications, I also had to write an essay in English.
Yes.
But not for Yale, but in some I had to write an essay in English to, uh, prove my proficiency in English.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, there were other applications in which I had to write name of individual subjects that I studied. And then we have to go on and talk about any kind of research that we have done. We also upload our two different, application materials that are our CV and our SOP. But apart from that, there are a number of questions that are like needed to be answered.
Addressed.
Yes, in the application itself.
Yeah, very true. I completely agree. What do you think? What is the role of visual part statement of purpose?
I'd say that in some sense it does play a central role, but there are other things as well that, in my opinion, are considered. But statement of purpose, shapes our personality in front of the admissions committee. Like it shapes who we are. So they are able to get a better idea of who we are as a person, and also who we are as someone in academics. But so that's something that gives a brief idea to the committee about our lives, about our background, about how and why of our lives.
Yes.
And so I'd say that it's important. It's a vital part. It gives a better idea of the actor.
It's kind of, I keep telling, mini biography in a couple of pages.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's an important part. Yes.
Yeah, CV is more like giving a bunch of our professional things that we have done, our degrees, our grades, and but SOP is more oriented towards something that's more personal. I'd say you have to think a lot on it. You have to think a lot, and you have to introspect. You have to think about what is it that actually motivated you to do what you are doing today.
Well, very true. And very concisely, you have to put those points that they want to see.
Yes, sir.
That your application is all about. And how about our guidance towards preparation of your number of interviews that you faced in this process?
So starting, I remember we started with preparing the CV.
Yes.
And that was the first step. So the one thing that I always say is good about this program is I have to do work.
Yes.
So that me,
that what mentorship means.
Yes, that's exactly what mentorship and grooming means. So,
and that training is gonna stay with you ever forever.
Yes, I remember when I started writing emails.
Yes, go ahead.
So the way I write emails now has changed a lot. It's more groomed, I'd say.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I learned a lot during this process. And yeah, so we started with writing a CV. and I prepared a draft.
Yes, yes.
And and then through many set of corrections that you suggested, we went on to build a better and better and better draft till we get a final output that finally prepared CV. And then we went on to prepare for the SOP. So I had to answer questionnaire, set of questions.
And how many days it took you to complete those questionnaires?
So it took me quite a lot of time, I'd say, because there were many questions and I had to think a lot. I mean, so the questions they target you in like every sense possible. They ask you questions at every end. So I mean,
we have to know about you, and that's the only way.
That set of questions actually, if you answer all of them, not only you, we ourselves get to know a lot about ourselves, I'd say, because there are things that I never thought were important for my career that, I was able to write about in those questionnaires, and I realized that they were. So, answering those questions, gave me insight about myself as well.
Good point. This is a very good point you're making here.
Yes, sir. It gives, you sit down and think about what you have done. So in that sense, it's a very good process, I'd say, to answer these questions.
आपके एक्सपीरियंस में स्टूडेंट को कितना समय देना चाहिए इन क्वेश्चंस के आंसर देने में ताकि स्टूडेंट के बारे में हम अच्छे से जान सकें?
So I'd say if one has started early, they should definitely devote a large amount of time to this specific thing, because this set of questions that one answers are going to be the basis of how you're going to be, in front of the admissions committee. So your SOP comes out. So what you are going to look like to the admissions committee, it entirely depends on your answers to these questions.
It's important questions.
It's important to answer these questions honestly, and also very precisely. Not missing out any details just because you think that they are not important. Anything could be.
Yeah. So basically, students, they don't know what important is.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Very good.
So one thing that I learned being with you is that things that we think that could not be relevant, could be one of the important things. You just never know.
Yeah, true.
You just have to be like very precise in writing down the details. The rest depends on what comes of use later.
True. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And you're talking about
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we prepare for the SOP part, and then we prepare a draft for the SOP, and then that draft then when
discussion,
any corrections, and we have a discussion, like a lot of them, and then we reach a final draft there. So that's done, and then we start with filling up the application. With creating an account and then filling up the details.
You're filling, then asking, then the final review, sir, can you do this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'd say that there are a lot of questions that one has to answer in the application. There are a number of pages in a single application. So it is a long process. One has to, devote some time to it. One has to think a lot. So you complete the application, answer those questions. There are always another essays that could be a part of the process. Let's say there could be an essay you could write if you want to apply for a fellowship, external fellowship from an institute inside the university.
And kind of diversity statement, I think.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So diversity statement is also, I'd say, a vital part of the application. It also, gives an idea more about your background.
True, very true.
Yes, sir. Like the kind of background you come from, and so I'd say diversity statement gives an idea on that. It's more personal than I'd say the SOP, which is a blend of personal and your professional life. But diversity statement is completely about your background or your family or the culture you come from.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how about still lacking when you had when you were facing interviews with the panel? How we prepare for that?
For that, we had discussions. You told me about, a number of things. So I'd say the most important thing that I learned was to not, you know, read things before interviews. Interviews are not meant to, test your knowledge on the subject.
Very good
They are
point.
more oriented to know the person if he's
Yes.
going to be a good fit for the program overall.
Yes.
Because we are going to learn the subjects anyway in the
Yes, true.
program, but
Very
through the course. So if we are not very good at it, it's not a problem.
Yes.
We can still work on that.
Yeah,
But
because
overall,
graduate program is a long-term
yes,
program.
yes,
Answering
sir.
or not answering a question cannot determine
Yes,
whether they should offer
yes,
you the position or not. Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I remember at Rochester, I appeared for a one-on-one interview with my supervisor. I was potentially going to work with, and he asked me questions on mathematical physics,
Okay.
and I could not answer a few of them. I answered some of them. I could not answer a few of them, and at that point, I felt like a fool. Could
Disappointed.
not answer like basic questions in mathematical physics. But despite that, I got an offer of admission.
Yeah,
So
yes.
it shows something.
Yes,
They're
yes,
not
yes.
looking for someone who's good with subjects. So they're going to teach you that
Yes.
anyway. They're looking for someone whose personality overall, fits
Yes.
well with the program and fits well with the group.
Very good point. Yeah. What with Badaya, Yale was like anything you can receive.
Yes.
Top 10, top 15, 20 in the world. Anyways, a lot of it's going to add on to various things that even
Yes,
one
sir.
cannot imagine at this point of time. कुछ questions हैं जो कि बहुत general question है, various perspectives से I would say, and important यदि आप उनका answer देती है student तक पहुंचती है. आपके केस में तो ऐसा था कि स्मृति was there, आपकी classmate थी, तो it was easy to connect with us. Right? It is online mentorship platform. Though we are opening one office in India. तो क्या आप मैसेज देना चाहेंगी स्टूडेंट्स को जो I mean they are skeptical about the process, about me, our mentorship program. क्या कहना चाहेंगी आप?
Sir, the first thing that I'd like to say is that it's not, counseling. That's admission counseling is very different. It's a mentorship program, so that's something one needs to understand. It's kind of like a training, a grooming.
Yes.
That's vital if one needs one is planning to apply for education abroad. So you learn things along the way that are going to be essential for your career ahead. So that's one thing.
And it is not spoon feeding.
Yes, sir, definitely. That's something I would definitely second that. You have to work. So I used to prepare the first draft, and then you give me feedback on that. You suggest me corrections and all the inaccuracies in that. But yeah, so you have to work for it. It's after all your own thing. You are applying for yourself.
Yes.
You have to work for it. But yeah, you have someone to mentor you. So that's an important difference in the traditional career counseling that people get from different counselors across the globe.
But don't you think a student want a very easy way out? Why they gonna have opt-us?
I mean, so I'd say that yes, one could want an easy way out, but let's say you get an admit, once you get there won't be an easy way out there. So you have to get through a degree, and you have to be prepared for it. So I guess
so it's
in
kind
one
of
way,
pre-training
yes,
you're trying to
yes,
say.
like in more ways than one, I'd say that it helps you prepare for what's going to be there for you ahead.
Yes, very true. How about the trust being online mentorship platform?
Sir, pardon me.
मतलब बहुत लोग सोचते हैं ना कि इस ऑनलाइन है तो ट्रस्ट है कि नहीं, I mean maybe he never exists, maybe
Yes,
this
sir,
decision is completely fake.
yes, sir. That was one of my concerns. But the plus point was my friend has already
Yes,
gotten in touch with you, so she was under your mentorship and she
yes.
knew uh, exactly what the reality of all of that is. So
Okay.
that was, I would say, a major point for me. So I mean, this being scared is not you know like I'd say that being scared is obvious because there are people out there who
Yes,
scam a lot. So
yes, yes.
that's I understand that like where one comes from. But again, there are a lot of ways one can always go about this. You can always contact people who have been
Yes,
with you who have had your mentorship.
yes.
So that way one could always verify if they want to. And of course, when talks to you, they realize
Yeah,
that
that
it's
helps a
more
lot, I
than
think. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
And I connect with each and every student that I feel like
yes,
blessed
yes,
with this.
yes,
That I want to connect the student and want to know
yes,
and help them
mhm,
what should be good based
yes,
on
sir,
आपका क्या
yes,
प्रोफाइल है और साथ में
yes, sir,
उनके साथ
yes,
जुड़
sir,
पाना उनको
yes,
ट्रबल
sir,
शूट करना शायद मैंने
yes,
आपको
sir,
बताया भी था एक रिसेंट स्टोरी एक सिस्टर है मतलब स्टूडेंट है जो
yes,
पीएचडी करने जा रही है
yes, sir,
और उसका
yes,
छोटा भाई अंडर ग्रेजुएट
yes,
बोथ आर
sir, yes,
विथ फुल स्कॉलरशिप यस यस वो ट्रस्ट वाली बात आप सही करें तो मुझे लगता
yes,
नहीं
sir,
है कि ट्रस्ट का कोई इशू होना चाहिए किसी के साथ
yes, sir. Definitely.
इस एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस में आई थिंक यू रिसीव्ड नंबर ऑफ fee waiver. Remember? Can you
Yes,
tell
sir.
tell? I think I forgot to ask this question.
Uh, yes, sir. So, fee waivers. For fee waivers, I remember I sent out emails to people coordinating the admission early on, like before I started my application, and way before that. So I like went ahead and sent them my details and asked if I could get a fee waiver. So a few of them were very kind to pass on my emails to the intended people and see if I could get a fee waiver, and then they were able to offer me a code. And I mean, I don't think it was a difficult process. It just it's your luck. You
Yeah.
can go
Yes.
ahead and write an email, reach out to people, and if they think a request is genuine, they would
Yeah.
definitely consider that and offer a fee waiver to you.
कहाँ
Yeah,
से मिली
so
याद है आपको?
so I guess most of my applications were waived. There were just two or three that I had to pay
And
application
how
fee
about
for.
Yale?
So Yale, they offered me a fee waiver, so it was a
And,
completely
so
free of cost application.
when it comes to
Yes, and so they offered me a fee waiver because I attended their physics webinar that
webinar, yeah.
happened. Yes, sir, that happened in November, and they mentioned it during the webinar that all the attendees will get a fee waiver.
Oh, that's
So
very
that's
nice. Another question, क्योंकि अब एक्सपेंस की बात आई है, जब से आप
yes,
जुड़े हैं तैयारी करी आपने और अभी
yes,
तक जो
sir.
एडमिट आए हैं, कितना
Yes.
मतलब एक्सपेंस रहा होगा
Uh,
आपका?
so I'd say till now, I'd say I spent like some amount of money on my applications. Let's say 25 to 30,000. I'd say I spend on it. 30, 35. Uh, if we are going to the extremes, and then uh,
You can include
I
our
mean,
fees also, mentors.
yes, sir. So the mentorship piece, of course,
Which
including that.
which you will keep asking little baby.
Yes, sir. So that comes from being from a middle class background, and so
I'm just
every
kidding.
so yes, sir. And so, sir, I'd say that around I'd say 1.5 lakh.
1.5 lakhs.
Yeah, that's like they I'd say
जहाँ मतलब स्टूडेंट
overestimated.
सोचते हैं कि 30
Yeah.
लाख 40 लाख रुपए का एक्सपेंस इट
Yes,
इज नॉट
sir.
ट्रू
Yes, sir. Like I have to, I'm yet to pay the visa fees. So
yeah next round आपका obviously we are
yes, sir.
going through helping you through this
Yes,
visa application process सर्विस फी है और आई थिंक वीजा इंटरव्यू
yes,
करीब
sir.
कितना है टोटल वो दोनों मिला के
The savings fees is $350, and the MRV fees, the processing fees for visa application is $160.
Upper bound 50,000.
Yes, sir.
तो 2 लाख
Yes,
रुपए तक का ये एक्सपेंस आपका, right?
yes, sir. And yeah,
But-
so around
And being female,
and
you gotta go for a lot of shopping.
yes,
वैसे
sir,
भी
definitely.
बेटियां पिताजी के खर्च अच्छा खासा करती हैं, so that you gotta whatever you can numbers.
Yes, sir.
I wish you good luck. Okay.
Thank
और
you, sir.
just final words कुछ कहना चाहें आप?
Yes, sir. I'd like to say that you never know. So one has to always be hopeful, because I like few years back I did not know if I could study abroad,
Yes.
and now I have that with me. I have offers of admission, and it's still unbelievable. So I'd say that you have to work for your dreams, and the way it's a long way, but you eventually get people out there who are going to help you. People like you who will help
Thank
you and nurture you, groom you in the right way, and you'll eventually be able to get what you always dreamed of. So that's something.
Thank you, Sanjana. और
Thank you.
बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको, आपके परिवार को. It is just the beginning, right?
Yes, sir.
We'll connect you soon. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, sir.